although there's never, all joking aside, I want to really hit home. And the reason I'm doing this live today is I have, I'm on LinkedIn all the time and Instagram live and all these places, and I'm scrolling through and I am astounded at how bad everybody's framing is. And these are pros, CEOs, thought leaders. They're doing interviews, and the person they're interviewing is like up close and personal, and they're like way back here and it's fuzzy. And I thought, it's really important not just to tell you where you are, which I will tell you where to be in your frame, where to put yourself in the video when we're talking about, and I'm talking about talking head videos like this, live videos, types of things like homepage videos, those types of things where it's called face to camera. Your face is to the camera. Where do we want to be? Well, obviously, we don't want to be back and down in here. Or what I saw just the other day, which is another thing that just made me want to really do this live, is putting too much of your body, too much of the background, and you get lost in the background. Listen, video is a close-up medium. I've said this over and over and over again, and I don't want those just to be words, because you are trying to create a connection with virtual strangers. How many of you have met me in person? Not many, maybe a handful. How many of you feel like you know me? I'm hoping everybody. And just so you know, the biggest compliment I ever get is when people meet me in person, they generally say, oh my gosh, you're just like you are on video. And that's what we want. So I don't care if you're an introvert. I don't care if you're not comfortable on camera yet, because you will be, but it is really important where you place yourself in the video. And so obviously I want you up close because again, pre-COVID, if you're having a conversation, and that is what you were doing, you are having a conversation, you're not lecturing. Again, a lot of what I see is people, the lecturing is the person that's up high, far back. This isn't a TED Talk, right? It's a totally different thing. And so you need to be up close and personal for people to get a real feeling for you. And there's some other things going on there where you may not even really think you're doing this, but the person is perceiving this and they don't even know they're perceiving it. So I want to talk about like the different places you are in the video, where to place yourself and why. And so again, like I said, if you were up close, personal, having a conversation with a neighbor, with someone you met pre-COVID, obviously we would stay safe, but you wouldn't be far away and small, because that would be weird. And so if anything, I want you to remember today is don't be weird. So think about that when you're framing yourself. Where are you putting yourself in the video? So in photography, my dad was a professional photographer. It's called composition. And it's basically, where are you placing the subject? And this affects the story you're telling. So in photography, you can tell a story by the positioning of your subject, whether the subject is a piece of an apple or a fruit bowl or an actual person. So I want you to think about, what story are you trying to tell? Are you trying to tell the story that you are small, afraid to be seen, or you're trying to take a position of authority and you're better than people, right? Like these are all of the unconscious, I'm going to say, subconscious things that are happening when you show up in different ways on video. So framing wise, I want you to fill the screen, especially live video, right? I want you filling the screen. Even in live videos, I still see people doing this, or in webinars where they're just too far and there's too much headroom. So when I talk about headroom, it's the space between your head and the top of the frame. Do you feel more connected to me when I'm here or when I'm here, right? Obviously, it's here. You feel like I stepped in to chat with you, which I am. And so headroom is really important, especially for live video. You can tickle that right there. You could just tickle the headroom, no big deal. when we're doing pre-recorded videos, you have a little more leeway. I still want you up close and personal, but if you're going to have graphics or text sliding in on a side, like I would have mine sliding in on this side, I may move myself. There's the rule of thirds. So if I know that there's going to be other things coming on screen with me, I will leave a little bit more room for that. But again, like play with it. If words are going to come on, I'd be like that, or like these are scripted videos, right? So in general, just think about filling the screen, making a connection close up. Now, when you are too small in the frame, by small, that's how I was in the beginning, when you're teeny tiny, or if you saw the little one like this, and I see, you guys all laughed, but I have seen videos where you're barely seeing the face of the person. Small is don't want to be seen. So the perception is that you don't want to be seen. You're polite, proper, perfect. Oh my gosh, I think perfectionist Patty. So think about this when you're showing up in your videos. Are you showing up small, physically small? And I see people who, time after time, I teach them, no, move closer, move closer. And every time they show up, it's farther and farther, right? Like they know it, but then somehow they're moving farther and farther away. And so subconsciously, you may have some sort of block, some sort of mindset shift that has to happen so that you own it, right? So small is one thing where you're small. Far, now you could be filling the frame where you have the right amount of headroom. I can't do it here because I won't be high enough, but if I was high enough, I'd still have enough headroom, but I'm far. And when we see a lot of your body and then a lot of the background, this feels distant. And I can assure you, when you're doing a video, I see this a lot in pre-recorded videos, professional videos, because a lot of people figure like, oh, this needs to be like the news anchor type thing or whatever. But no, that is so formal and disengaging. So people who are far away, it's distant, unapproachable. I mean, come on, do you want to be unapproachable? Disinterested. I see this. I used to teach interviewing techniques, and we'd have interviewer, the interviewer chair and the interviewee chair, and both people, I would say, please don't sit back comfortable in your chair, because a lot of people are like, oh, but I want to be comfortable. But as soon as you lean back, cross your legs, disinterested. I don't have time for this. Heather saying, now understanding framing from LVL, I so notice other people. I'm sorry. And I'm so sorry, Heather, because you can't unsee it. And if I showed you my inbox, especially many of you know I follow the Funnel Gorgeous ladies, and it's wonderful, but their framing is often terrible. And people will take screen grabs and send it to me like, oh my gosh, please help them. And it's just a common thing. You're teaching, you're just showing up, but show up. Right? Have a conversation. And so again, the far distant, disinterested, or doesn't feel great about yourself. People stay far away when they're like, oh, but I'll look younger. Yeah, but yes, maybe you'll look younger, but do you want to look younger, distant, and unapproachable? I don't think so. So when you're bringing it in, right? I want you to light it up, Buttercup. Come on in. Show me that smile. Show me those blues. If you've got blues, whatever color your eyes are, I want to know what color your eyes are. How about that, right? So up close means confident, capable, in charge, right? And all of these things, this is why it's so important. We talk about eye line, and just to go back over the eye line, because the eye line is part of how you're showing up. Again, live's so much more forgiving. So much more forgiving. Those of you who are new to me, I say live video is the easiest thing to do compared to other videos, and it is. And here's your eye line's not nearly as important as it is with pre-recorded video, but we do want to talk about your eyes being even with the camera. So I'm on a laptop, but if it were your phone, you want to be connecting with your mobile lens, wherever that is. Some is on the side, on the top, on the left, on the right. this is your job. You have to learn these things, right? So you may have to put your computer up or down. You may have to put your phone on one of the little arms, whatever you need to do to be connecting with the camera, because that's your confidence, right? They will have confidence in you if you show up like you have confidence in yourself. And here's the thing, you want your audience to get a feel for you. Again, in the beginning, you're preaching today, Tracy. You know I am. It says Facebook user. You know I am Facebook user, Jennifer Miller. Or yeah. So you want your audience to get a feel for you. I said earlier, people feel like they know me. I love, if this is Jennifer Miller, they send you things, right? And these are people I have not met in person yet. I can't wait until we open up and I can meet all of you, and we're going to have events and we're going to get to know each other, and that's all great. But until then, this is what we have. So you need to use this virtual platform to make a connection. It wasn't you, Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer. Right? Because you want to command authority, right? And leadership, and you're a leader, right? So just in case you were not sure about that, you are a leader, and I need you to show up as a leader. You have to show up so that they believe you can help them and that they want to come back. So you want them to feel good. And oh, hi, Debbie. You have to feel good about, what you're doing. You don't have to be 100% confident all the time, but this is almost going to be a little bit of a confidence trick, right? Is that you're showing up and able to connect with people. This is the first step. Nobody wants perfection, but they also don't want you to seem like, way back off and aloof and like that. Those are terrible things. And again, this is me. I've spittle, by the way, on my computer. So I am preaching, right? So I don't want you to fear video now and be like, I don't know, I don't want to show up like that. Show up, because your audience doesn't want you to show up perfect, right? That is one of those live video myths, in general, but live video is so forgiving because we're not perfect. We're human, and people are buying human to human. And that's why live video is such a great way to be able to connect with your audience. But again, so today is just about like where you are showing up in the frame. And so again, you'll always see, I'm like, if you went back and you look at my videos and you hit the video tab, I am on set. We used to call it pockets up because it was a male dominated world. And so it was like their pockets. I call it boobies up. So boobs up is where, and if you're non-binary, then it is simply chest up. And that is where I want to see you. So your chest might be, I'm a tall woman, so your chest might be a little bit different. So, but play with it. What I don't want is you far down. The other thing I see a lot of people doing, and especially I want to talk about, hi, Kathy. Yeah, so Kathy says it's good to be imperfect because my eye contacts with the green dot still work in progress. Yes, and I would love to be able to share. I actually took a little screen grab. Kathy Spooner was a LVL student of mine, which is the Live Video Launchpad, and she had a little sticky that was like, your audience is the green dot or something like that. Do you remember that, Kathy? I took a screen grab of it today because it was so great. But that's an important reminder that there are humans on the other side of that green dot, right? And so I see a lot, especially like IGTV, Instagram, where, I'm still getting away with the horizontal videos here because I'm going live from my laptop. But if you are using your phone, and again, totally acceptable, it hurt a little bit, but it's okay. I'm getting over it now. That is where I see the most egregious. And that was kind of like what I was doing today in response to an IGTV where I saw the woman was here, and this is the amount of space in her kitchen that I saw. And I was like, oh my God, I really like her light fixture. Ooh, wow, I have no idea what she was talking about. I don't know what her niche was. I don't know what I was watching, except for that I stopped. I almost took a screen grab, but I don't like to take screen grabs of people I don't know. I generally will take a screen grab of people I do know and then ask them if I can use it and help them. I generally will then do a home studio makeover with them. I'm going to put a picture of people near the green dot. People put pictures. My friend Kate Gilbert, who is also live live video launchpad. She was after you, Kathy. She actually did a cutout of me, which made me uncomfortable at first, but then made me guffaw because she had it, and it wasn't a great picture either, but she cut it out and put it directly behind on a little stick. So she could be, because I am her ideal buyer, not just person, but like the person I have bought from her. So it was a good call, right? To put my face behind there because I am the person that's going to spend money with her. And that's, again, when we're talking about that instant video connection, you have to know who that one person is on the other end, not a demographic. And I'm going to bring it back around. But when we're talking about, again, the phones and connecting, show up. It's a little bit harder. You're going to have to work a little bit more to fill more of the space, but you can do it. I know you can. The other thing I see a lot of people doing is, especially on their phones, is they're kind of looking down at their phones. And I wish I could kind of recreate that, but I can't on here. And that is actually not great because you're putting yourself not in a position of authority, like you know what you're doing, but actually above the person. Like you're the guru and I'm going to teach you. And I see a lot of doctors doing this where they're and looking down at their computer. No bueno, my friends. And so I really want you to connect with that dot, because that dot is not a dot at all. That dot represents somebody on the other end that you are going to help, and they need to feel that you can do this, right? This is timeless. Your framing, video stuff will change. I mean, listen, I started editing on AB Reels, right? Like stuff changes, video changes, even me having to get over that it's not horizontal, even though that's the way that video is supposed to be. Our TVs are horizontal. And listen, in the future, maybe our TVs are suddenly going to be vertical. Gosh, I would hate that. I'm going to have a big old cry if that ever happens. But anyway, things are changing, right? But your framing is never going to change. It's never going to be better for you to be way far back trying to have a conversation. And I want also, on a side note, notice what happens to my audio when I step away from my audio source. Again, so much of what I do is just whatever comes innately with my computer. I use a computer sound, I use a computer camera. I don't use all the extras for my lives because that's what I teach, right? So I'm not going to be teaching you how to do a live video from your phone or your laptop, and then I'm using like this complicated DSLR with a special lens and this type of add-on. No. Can I do it? Sure. Is it necessary? Absolutely not. If you want to step up your game and do that, I think that's great. But that is not what I'm teaching when you're first entering the world of video. And especially I want everybody to be starting with live video. Can you imagine how overwhelming it would be if A, I'm telling you to go live, and then B, I'm telling you like, oh, and there's this setup and it's about $1,500, but you're going to look really good. Who cares what you look like when you're first learning to do live video? It's why phones are great, because they're so fast and you can get good at it. So I was just on my little soapbox today. Framing is so important. It's evergreen, in the words of online marketing, right? You are always going to have to think about your framing, but you won't have to think about it long when it becomes just second nature for you to show up close and personal. Since we've been talking about, and I have we're talking about live video, I have a brand new, never done this before, masterclass coming up on June 8th called, and it's not even out there, the ads haven't started yet. I'm putting it out to my community first. It's called From Lives to Leads. And I'm going to show you, because a lot of people think that you need a following and you need, a lot of subscribers and you need to be good at video in order to use live video to grow your business. And that is a bold-faced lie. And I'm going to run you through. It's going to be like nothing else you've ever seen. I'm not going to be hiding behind a bunch of fancy slides. I am not going to be talking about myself for 30 minutes. Maybe if there are new people on there, since I'm running ads to it, I'll spend 90 seconds. If any of you are there, you can even do a little stopwatch and be like, stop. I cannot stand when people do that. This is real information about how you're turning your lives into leads, which means real people who will buy from you. Again, I mentioned Kate Gilbert because, when we talk about who is on the other side of the lens, who is that person, I need you to tap into the mind of that buyer and show up as the expert and tell them what they need to hear in order to work with you, right? Like that's the difference. We're not just kind of like, use live video and go, right? I think about my daughter who was up practicing her piano. Good job, Elliot, right? She's practicing her piano. And a lot of times video is like this, where people show up and they expect to be good at it. But here's the funny element is my daughter will learn a song and she practices and practices. And so with video, you can practice and practice, but without her instructor then giving her feedback, she's not going to get better, right? So they say you excel at something for doing it for 10,000 hours. Maybe if you're getting feedback and getting better at it, but if she plays the wrong notes and practices that for 10,000 hours, she knows the song wrong. She needs feedback from her piano teacher who is an expert at what he does. Yeah, Mr. Zach, we love you, right? I am your piano teacher in this case, right? So when we're talking about turning lives into leads, you're not going to do it blind. Yes, you have to get good at live video, or at least learn the basics of live video so that you can start showing up. Because again, you're not going to wake up one day with confidence, and you're not going to be able to show up for an audience in a way where you're showing up as an authority and then be able to use that live video in order to get the right people. So we want you to show up. And again, live video, you can show up, I can give you feedback, and you get better, right? So it's something, and those of you, Debbie Lawrence is on here, Jennifer Miller's on here, we have Kathy on here, a lot of people who have already been through Live Video Launchpad will tell you it's not nearly as bad as you think it's going to be. You just kind of have to rip the Band-Aid off. And then from there, you get better and better. And it's amazing how exponential the momentum becomes when you're learning, because you go from, oh God, why have I been waiting so long? That is probably the thing I hear the most, next to, once I got over myself, it was so much better. Live to tell about it. That's right. I'm in for that class. Yeah, Kathy. And that's, we really go into, it is a bonus. You know how to do this with Josh, but I'm going to be really breaking down how you turn those lives, or why you even want to be starting to make lives before you have that following. And again, it's kind of like my little soapbox when people are like, I want to do an online course, and they create the online course. They buy these courses, which I think are great. I have many of them, but they haven't validated the idea. That is, to me, the same as waiting for an audience to start doing live video. No, the live video comes first. This isn't a chicken and an egg thing. The live video is first. So I would love for you all. And again, even if you've been through Live Video Launchpad, because full disclosure, that is what I'm going to be talking about on the back end of the masterclass. It is a new masterclass. It's something I have not taught before. And I'd be super excited, obviously, to have my super fans on there with me. So like I said, not going to be a lot of fancy slides, not going to be talking about myself. It is going to be a lot of learning. And I'm going to, as you all know, I'm going to be pulling back the curtain and talking about the reality of, really turning a live into something that generates actual leads. And not just any leads, because we can all do that. You can throw money at anything haphazardly. We have time. Sure, I'll tell this story about the time I lost $11,000 on my very first Facebook advertising foray, because I hired an agency and they did get me a shit ton of people. The wrong people. And she's like, oh my God, the ads are working. And I was like, for you, on my end, they're not the right people. And that was a huge learning curve for me, because I just thought, I was so new to online marketing. I was like, dang, ads are working, but, didn't know enough about targeting, didn't know enough about, who I was really serving or who I wanted to serve. And so all of that is really important when you think about showing up live, and we talk about who's on the other end of that little green dot. So happy to have so many of you on with me today. Of course, I'll be back next week. Make sure you sign up, mostly because too, you're going to get an email from me. I want all of you in my sphere, in my world. Again, more full disclosure, pulling the curtain back. I don't want you getting targeted with my ads unless you want to get targeted by my ads. So what you'll do is you'll sign up. And then you'll automatically be taken away. So you're not targeted by ads. And I'm not wasting money on somebody I already know is going to show up. You see how that works, everybody? It's magical. Pixels and targeting and loveliness. Oh my. Okay. So now you know where you need to be. You need to fill the frame. And next week, and I would love if people were to send me some screen grabs of where you think you should be, and I'll help you out a little bit, but just take a little screen grab, go on Zoom, whatever you want to do. You can take a picture so that I can help you show up as the authority we all know you are. I'll see you next week. Take care.